Georgia Tech and Arkansas in 90 and Cincinnati in 92. UCLA controls it first.
Man-to-man defense from Oklahoma State. A lot of screening.
Edney with a whistle. Draws the foul from the Cowboys.
Great man-to-man defense by Oak State, but Edney, Jim, with dribble penetration, what we showed early on, something that he is so good at. Owens picks up the quick foul early.
Make your decision. Make your decision. No, you get your spot.
Edney's been to the foul line this year, Jim, 171 times. For a guy that has the great turnover assist ratio, that is absolutely terrific. And of course, a 76% shooter, so it shows how he can finish it off.
First team All Pac-10, Mr. Clutch in this year's NCAA tournament.
And coming off the disappointing loss last year, that back problem really hurt not only Edney, but UCLA's chances in last year's tournament against Tulsa.
Well, interestingly enough, in last year's tournament, both of these teams were eliminated by Tulsa. In Oklahoma City, UCLA in the first round. Tulsa defeated, and then round two, they took out Big Country and Company, the Golden Hurricane.
Pierce, a man who has been up and down, screening away, a foul call. Quick whistles in this game, Jim.
Well, that time they got Rutherford for setting a moving pick.
Again, adjustments will have to be made by coaches quickly, particularly Oak State that does not have a very deep bench. If they get guys in serious foul trouble, it'll be a problem.
Edney in traffic. Pierce is defending O'Bannon. Tough shot, and Big Country snares it.
You see Pierce get out and running. Owens not wanting to turn this into a up and down game, so they pull it up to go to their half-court set.
Collins steps in, and Reeves let it slip away. Oklahoma State has not attempted a shot at its first two trips.
Jim, one of the things about teams that get to the Final Four, they are usually on great defensive runs. And we're seeing two teams playing heads-up man-to-man right now, shutting their opponent out.
Edney, wow. Billy, that's been the common thread, though, for the four teams that made it here. Shutting down the opponent. UMass shot a season low against Oklahoma State. Scott Pierce and the Cowboys are on the board.
Owens comes right back to Edney. Look at Edney try to follow some traffic.
Well, Pierce almost reached in and got a steal.
Owens doing a smart thing. He's trying to keep the ball away from Edney.
Going the other way. They called a charge on Bailey. He tipped the shoulder, and they whistled him for it.
Don't want to jump to the second game, Jim, but if the game is called like this, with a very fast whistle, it'll have a lot to do with the outcome. This game is very tightly officiated early on. Little switch right there. Good job by Charles O'Bannon picking up Rutherford. There's that 600 pounds inside banging each other.
And there they battle for the first time, and Zedek got him with the body.
Zedek fighting in there. We talked about it. 14 feet, 600 pounds. Why he jumped over there on the left side, I don't know, because that's something Eddie Sutton talked about. He wants him on his left shoulder all night, force him to go back, use that left hand some.
Reeves almost 70% from the line this season.
Jim, a huge game against Alabama. McDyess, who is going to be one of the premier players in the country last year, was a lot for anybody to handle. He played 40 minutes against Alabama, 40 against Wake Forest and Tim Duncan, and 40 against Cambion, Massachusetts.
That's 3 straight games playing the whole way, and probably would have in the first one, but he fouled out against Drexel.
Malik Rose was much smaller and tough for him to guard.
Zedek with the hook.
And don't be surprised to see more of the hooks from Zedek. He has really developed the old style Kareem Jabbar sky hook.
Three-pointer nailed by Rutherford.
Bailey's got to get out there and respect that depth of that jump shot.
O'Bannon into Zedek. Oak State comes out of the pack, and Bailey picks up his second. This is the old-fashioned style hook shot.
Well, we talked about Oak State, Bob Curlin, George Mikan back in the 40s. Obviously, they didn't have to play in the wide lane, but that was the hook shot perfected back in the early 40s and 50s.
Owens penetrating, comes up shy. Charles O'Bannon rips it away. Here come the Bruins on the run for the first time, and Collins commits the foul with the body.
And Eddie Sutton waves to him. That's not the foul they want. Very difficult to stop Edney in the open floor area. Defensive court balance is really critical. There's Eddie Sutton.
59-year-old coach in his 5th year at his alma mater. He's taken all 5 of his clubs here at Oak State to the NCAA tournament. 4 different schools in his career to the tournament, with Creighton, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma State on the list. Edney.
So far, Edney feels that he can score against Owen. Owen is going to have to do something to slow him down. Getting too good of shots.
Edney has 5 of the Bruins' 7, and Rutherford let it go out of bounds.
Cameron Dollar on him now, looking for some defensive help. Rutherford really should have put 2 hands on that ball, Jim.
And here's Dollar in the game for Bailey, who sits with the 2.
That ought to help Oak State concentration a little bit. They turn their heads to talk. Edney fires to the open man in a hurry.
Well, that is the second on the other side for Randy Rutherford. And Keontae Roberts, 6'5" sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma, comes in. Owens will go out. Rutherford stays on the floor with the 2.
Eddie Sutton didn't take 4 teams, 4 different schools to the NCAA tournament without knowing what he's doing. He sees right away that Edney has been the problem. So he's trying to get some defensive help on him. Owens sits.
Cameron Dollar will shoot one more, 6'1" sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. Eddie Sutton, who played for Coach Iba, Oklahoma State, 1955 through 58.
Dollar had some nice offensive gains, but his key to this lineup is defense, so you can expect him on Rutherford. But that puts a tough matchup out there now, Jim, because there is really only 1 guard in the game. It'll be interesting to see how they try to match up Edney.
Zedek being brought to the bench.
Trainer.
Cut on his knee.
Must be some blood, Billy. So they'll bring in freshman J.R. Henderson. And yeah, cut on the knee for Zedek. So that has to be immediately addressed. Henderson in. Cameron Dollar, because of a lane violation, gets a second opportunity and gets this one to go.
It allows UCLA set up a little press. 2-2-1, full court.
Keontae gets it over to Rutherford.
Nice move by Jim Herrick, realizing that the point guard out of the game for Oak State.
Roberts tipped to the backcourt by Edney, so no violation. Pierce inside the arc. Reeves tips it up and in.
You know, sometimes, Jim, even though that shot didn't go in for Pierce, he set things up. Everybody on this team will have to take some open shots.
Edney. And Roberts pulls it down. Cowboys look for the lead on this trip. Tipped out by Charles O'Bannon.
A nice little move to set some tempo of their own by Oak State. And here is the putback by Big Country.
As we reach our first timeout, Big Country ties it at 9.
Well, he actually first championship he won, 64. Jimmy got there the first time in 62. But Coach Wooden, of course, and Jim Herrick have been very close friends. I know Coach Wooden would like to be here. He's at the McDonald's All-American game this weekend.
Collins gives the Cowboys a second chance. Herrick toiled first as a head baseball coach in high school, then the JV basketball coach. There's a putback, and Oak State takes the lead behind Keontae Roberts.
Roberts coming off that bench, and look at who is guarding Edney. Roberts on Edney. Let's see if Tyus doesn't take it with a dribble.
O'Bannon on the board for the first time, and he does it with a 3.
Against Connecticut, Ed was 0 for 6 from 3, so a good sign. This is going to be interesting matchup on both ends. Roberts and Edney. He's got to be careful on that dribble. Trying to help out on Big Country.
Oh, and O'Bannon knocks it right off of Pierce. They rule it the other way.
Wrong call. Wrong call. Without question, it hits Pierce's leg. Without question, it hit Pierce's leg.
Jason Scare, a 6'7" freshman from Deer Park, Texas, in for the Cowboys. Pierce.
Jim, we have some great matchups on the floor right now. Roberts and Edney, and then Henderson on Reeves. I think Reeves can score on Henderson. He's going to take some help, and they're setting him up right now.
4 on the shot clock. And he traveled with 1 second left on the shot clock.
Poor execution by Oak State. They've got to take advantage of the weight differential between Henderson and Reeves. And now UCLA has to take the advantage of the quickness between Edney and Roberts.
Henderson. Charles O'Bannon keeps it alive and 1.
A great player inside the foul line as an offensive talent. Charles O'Bannon is only 6 for 29 from 3, but you put him inside 15 feet and he can create shots. Terrific lift. A lot of moves inside. Scare, who's a good athlete himself, gets caught.
O'Bannon, who averages 13 a game, gets the 3-point play. Bruins lead by 4. Andre Owens returns, the starting point guard.
Now that sets up a more traditional matchup of point guards. Roberts really did an interesting job on Edney during that time. Edney really didn't challenge him.
Reeves keeps it alive, surrounded and then stolen by Charles O.B. Edney has it stripped away by Owens. Let's get a quick report now from Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Well, George Zedek is still on the bench. They taped up his knee pretty well with that cut. It turns out trainer Tony Spino told me a scab came off of his knee. He's also got a pretty visible bump on his head that he was holding earlier in the game, but that doesn't seem to be bothering George. Let's send it back to you, Jim.
But Jim, it looks like that what Jim Herrick wants to do is to match speed for speed. So far, he's gotten by with it.
Three-pointer. And Billy, you mentioned that he didn't make one against UConn, but he had one game this year where he made 7, tying Reggie Miller's school mark, so he can get it going with the streaks.
That was against Cal.
And he mixed the steal at the other end.
Almost backcourt, great pass.
Dollar into Edney. Oh, Final Four highlight there.
Jim, what's happening right now? We talked about which team is going to play at their pace. UCLA is forcing the break. Oak State not getting the ball to Reeves down low. Tempo getting too quick.
And Dollar almost makes the steal. Bruin basketball, they say. After a brilliant pass, look at Edney underneath.
How about the concentration? He was looked right up over the top of his head. Perfect English as he laid up that shot.
This is Oklahoma State's biggest deficit of the tournament. They had been down 8 against UMass. And
a huge nightmare for them. A 9-point lead is like a 15-point lead against a team that wants to play in the 80s.
O'Bannon. Oklahoma State has the numbers, so they'll take advantage. Rutherford on a wing.
Whoa! Tyus went for that play. I don't know why he went for that block.
We got red zone going on here, you right?
You just let the guy in there, suck it up for a couple of minutes and go. But he took a heck of a fall there, and with a 9-point lead, you can afford to sit him for a minute or two.
Toby Bailey also back in. Rutherford will shoot one more. When we met with Coach Herrick this week, that was kind of his constant theme, Billy. Lessons learned in life, and you mentioned one of them. taking Edney out. Seemed to be his battle cry, didn't it?
That's right. He said he had a good lead against Michigan. Everything was going their way. Decided to rest him and never got the momentum back in the game.
Lessons learned in life. Zedek outside, and Little Owens underneath. The 5'11" junior pushes it ahead. Rutherford to Reeves, and Henderson. That'll send Reeves to the line for 2. Coming up between games, Pat, Quinn, and Coach K will hear from the winners and losers from game 1. Pat will have a conversation with his airness. Doritos presents Inside the Game with Michael Jordan.
Young man who had a pretty good NCAA tournament as a freshman, as we're seeing some freshmen out here tonight.
Pretty good, pretty good.
What I see, though, Jim, in this game so far is that Eddie Sutton and his game plan to play half court at a time is not working. So far, his team is getting wrapped up in this quickness battle. And even though they've got to take advantage of the numbers sometimes, it does not bode well for them to get in this kind of a running game.
Henderson swatted away by Roberts. Robert Rutherford will pull up.
Roberts playing very well off the bench. They're really not waiting for Reeves to get position yet. Ooh.
Another dangerous pass. Tipped by the Bruins. 10 on the shot clock. Roberts driving beautifully for 2.
Terrific job off the bench by Roberts. He's doing it on both ends of the floor.
So 6 unanswered for the Cowboys.
He had an excellent game against Wake Forest. 6 out of 8, 13 points, 6 rebounds. Really key. Looking for the hook.
Going with the left one this time. Dollar saves it. Working the baseline. Wow, put it up with the left hand.
Dollar and Edney, Jim. 2 miracle layups.
Well, 22-17 UCLA, but keep in mind, Oak State got off to a slow start in all 4 games so far in the tournament. Randy Rutherford was saying that's been really a flaw for us all season, but we're a senior team, and if we get down early, we don't fold our tent.
Well, you don't win the Big 8 and go through the games they did in the Eastern Regional and ever fold up.
Here's traveled.
I don't know if he did, Jim. I think that it was an unusual looking play, but I don't think he ever released his pivot foot.
And we have a break here. Oak State has turned it over 8 times already. As his mom, Burl, looks on. Got tickets for the final between Bill Russell in San Francisco and Tom Gola in LaSalle. And then hitchhiked home. That was 40 years ago.
I was laying on my couch in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, listening to that game on the radio. I'd never heard of Bill Russell. I was just coming along, and there was no way anybody could be better than Tom Gola. As we all learned, Bill Russell was part of championships for many years to come.
On the blocks, open Reeves. Got bumped a little bit, but that soft touch.
See how he turned, Jim? Zedek late getting there, but Oak State on that timeout wisely, getting the ball to their big guy.
Now Zedek wanting position, but UCLA swings it around. Edney wants to challenge Owens.
Owens wanted to turn over there. He's got to be careful.
Edney got to step on him again. They say Henderson came in over the back.
Watch the back screen here by Rutherford. Really strong. Dollar tries to do the job by holding up, but Big Country beats him to the spot and then does that customary turn inside.
By the way, that foul was the 2nd on Henderson. So 2 on Henderson, 2 on Bailey for the Bruins. 2 for Rutherford of the Cowboys.
Reeves still getting good position inside. Triple team down on him. They are really looking to get it. The big guy really works.
Owens lost control of it in the arms of O'Bannon. 4 on 3, O'Bannon, yes.
Brilliant play, Jim. Didn't you think he was going to pass that thing? Terrific open court movement, and that's one thing UCLA has at almost every position. They've got guys that can put the ball on the floor and take it the length. O'Bannon, one of the best, certainly one of the best forwards in the country at that.
Outside, Zidek pushes Reeves, and they say now Zidek bumped them a little too forcefully, so they'll call one on him right there. And for Zidek, that is his second.
You watch him getting behind, trying to keep Reeves out. Good strategy here. Get him out a step or two beyond where he wants to shoot. You can see O'Bannon coming down there on the double team, but the foul takes place first.
Second on Zidek, seventh on UCLA, so we're in a 1-and-1. Reeves with the 1-and-1.
Jim went to the foul line 10 times on McDyess, was 8 out of 10.
You know, after he tore down the backboard yesterday, some people asked Zidek, what did he think of Reeves doing that? And he said, that is my dream, to one day tear one down. Charles O'Bannon, Toby Bailey will return for UCLA.
And you can see Jim Herrick saying, hey, I'm not stopping the guy with my power. See if I can stop him with quickness. So it'll be Henderson back on him again. That'll require a lot of doubling down inside because Reeves certainly has a lot of weight and strength on him and experience. Senior against freshman.
24-21 UCLA and a turnover. Now let's compare the two big guys with their population. 218 in Gans, 1,000,002 in Prague.
And we understand George's father's team, club team, is in the championship run.
Former national coach for Czechoslovakia. And O'Bannon with another steal. He's having a big game on the defensive end too. Charles called for the charge.
Boy, that was a great jump stop. Pretty good acting job by Collins, but a terrific hit ahead. You can see the good jump stop. Charles probably didn't commit the contact first, but got called. And Jim Herrick didn't like it. Now we're going to take a look at the zone for the first time, Jim, by UCLA. Now, look for Randy Rutherford. They've got to be aware of him stepping out for a jumper. There he is.
Only two players in history have made more threes in a season than Rutherford. Reeves left open at the free throw line.
Well, you go 2-3 zone, and a postman steps up in the foul line and gets a jumper.
They've climbed back from 9 down, only 1 back now. Henderson, nice move to the hole, but couldn't finish it.
Somebody better come back for the ball. You don't want this man bringing it up. Nice play. Rutherford's open.
He'll take the three. Reeves.
Got by with a push-off.
He sure did. Pushed off against Henderson, no whistle.
First time he's starting to bend over a little bit, looking for some extra air. Well, Pierce met the ball, they missed it. Screen on O'Bannon.
Back foot on the line, another turnover. We reached the under 8-minute timeout. Bryant Reeves has 12 points. The Cowboys only 1 down.
You know, these teams have been winning by holding opponents down under 40.
And sometimes under 30.
That's right. So obviously, the job is not getting done. And you mentioned under 30, Massachusetts against Oak State shot 28%. We're talking about a quality team. So they're not getting it done on the defensive end, either team.
O'Bannon with a hook. Reeves says no, Toby Bailey.
Yes, he really did, didn't he? He looked at him and said, freshman, get out of my way. You're in another league, and UCLA stays in that zone, matching up. They're flattening out the 2-3.
Reeves, Henderson that time stripped it away. Charles O'Bannon pull up.
That was really an outstanding play by Edney. He was looking ahead, he froze the defense. He knew all along that Charles O'Bannon was coming to his right as a trailer. So after he froze the defense, he gave it back to the trailer. Very smart.
Well, Reeves that time, that's the second time it's happened too. Just took his eye off on it.
He sure did. He didn't catch it first. If they're going to give Edney that jumper, he's going to take that jumper off the dribble.
That way, 31.
And they call it on Ed O'Bannon for pushing off this time. His first. By the way, earlier in the women's national semifinals, Tennessee advanced to the championship game to face the UConn Huskies.
Well,
Rebecca Lobo, 27-point victory over Stanford.
Jim, it was inevitable and great for women's basketball that the two real power giants go up against each other. They played earlier this year with Connecticut winning on their home floor. This will be interesting.
1-1 for Pierce. That's the first missed free throw. The Cowboys had hit the first 8. Charles O'Bannon again.
This team
7
really
points.
gets out in the open floor. Everybody can catch the ball. And everybody can run and finish. Very quick team on the floor now with Zidek out of there.
Well, the Cowboys had 2 trips to take the lead. Don't do it. Now UCLA opens up a 5-point lead.
See how they flattened out the zone because they know what Rutherford wants to do. They're doing a good job talking, so they're leaving shots on the perimeter out front.
Pierce.
Transfer from Illinois has got to make some of those.
Toby Bailey back from Henderson. Freshman to freshman.
Well, what did we say? What will the freshmen do? Will they be in awe of this place in the game? Obviously not. Freshman factor very positive for UCLA. See, Collins doesn't want the shot, Jim.
Reeves does. And Pierce follows. They missed 2 chippies.
And they've got the numbers going the other way.
Spin away by Edney, and behind the back that worked against Missouri. Another spin move, and he'll head to the line for a couple.
That's another foul on Owens. Here we see a great give and go by the 2 outstanding freshmen from UCLA. Give it, get it back, cut to the basket. That's as old as the Peach basket. Terrific play.
Deontay Roberts returns. He's given them some effective minutes off the bench. That's the 2nd on Owens. And now the slippery Tyus Edney after some nifty ball handling.
Jim, the zone is really creating some problems for Oak State in the fact that Rutherford, who they want to get shots from the perimeter, is running baseline. UCLA has flattened out the zone, meaning they're moving it from a 2-3 with everybody concentrating on the baseline, leaving open shots on the perimeter right out front, but nobody is looking to take it. Now watch what happens when Rutherford goes to baseline. See, there's a shot for Collins, there's a shot for Owens, but there's no shot for anybody else. There it is.
Owens, 3-pointer, much needed.
That's what was open. You think Edney takes Owens again, Jim? Try to pick up another foul?
Look at that. Inside, Edney spotted Charles. Put it up quickly.
What made that play was the great spacing by UCLA. Again, without Zidek in the middle, everybody can play and surround the defense.
Deontay Roberts, free throw line.
He's having an excellent game.
Ed O'Bannon. Rutherford slaps the rebound.
There's that unusual combination. Great three-point shooter and second leading rebounder from the guard position. See what?
Like Corey Beck of Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. Very unusual. He can't get a shot against this zone.
Collins has to take it. 2 open. Three-pointer.
Hurt his ankle. Came down on his ankle. He's on the floor.
The other end, Charles O'Bannon lays it in. They'll have a whistle now. And Collins on the next trip knocked down a 3, but landed on the right ankle, right off the foot of Bailey. You think he'll be back, though, Billy?
I really do. As a senior player, you know, you don't save anything. And the way he got up and walked off, I think he'll be back in this game.
He's with best friends with Bryant Reeves and his roommate on the road. 2 seniors.
Owens has got to take up some slack here.
Wow, that was up there. Reeves brought it down a second time.
Jim, he's a very deceiving young man. With all that bulk, he has very soft hands, even in traffic. So he uses his body to ward you off and the great hands to hang on. There's that very serious foul.
They got a hand check on the other end, which is the third on Owens. But look at
those soft hands.
In a soft touch, too.
Oh, yeah.
A dilemma on the other end, but let's look at the second try here by Reeves.
Look at the concentration, too, inside, putting that ball back up.
Well, that's the third on Owens, that hand check. 1-1.
I am really surprised with 2:46 to go that Eddie Sutton's leaving him in. Roberts did a pretty nice job on Edney. Edney didn't try to penetrate on him. Be a very serious problem if Owens picks up another one, and Edney's a smart enough player to challenge him. Matter of fact, John Wooden called Michael Warren the smartest player he ever had and says Edney reminds me of Michael Warren. So that's a pretty good indication that he knows how to play this game. Telegraph the pass.
Edney trying to get it ahead. Owens back. And then O'Bannon has it stripped away. Call it a block.
Jim, Keontae Roberts has had an excellent first half. You know, he's really the key as to how Oak State's been able to stay in here.
Rutherford, who hasn't really got on track. Edney three.
Kind of off balance.
Finally pulled down by Scare.
You can see the lack of experience from Scare. He had the numbers, but I bet you he's been preached to. We don't want to be in a running game. So as a freshman, he waited on everybody. He really had the numbers.
Reeves.
Now Henderson looks over at his coach and said, "You told me to turn him back to that side." He makes the shot anyway.
They figured he makes 90% of his shots turning left.
Right.
But not that time. Big Country with 16, and it's a 2-point ball game. UCLA in front.
There's Edney, gonna use Owens a little.
Henderson, too strong, and Owens thought about it for a moment of running.
Big Country was like a policeman there. He put his hand down and said, "Stop, I want to rest a little bit." They'll have to give it up, though. They go to a little four corners here. A little different offensive set.
10 on the shot clock. Draws the whistle.
I'm going to tell you, the experience of Big Country, realizing Henderson can't handle him with size, taking advantage of him.
That foul on Henderson, his third, and let's get a quick report from Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, Terry Collins, I've been told, has a sprained ankle. The training staff wrapped him up, and as Billy mentioned, he will come back in this game, but that right ankle has been sprained. Jim?
All right, we have another player now saddled with 3 fouls. It's the freshman J.R. Henderson for UCLA. Zedek in for him now.
Jim, Owens has 3 fouls. You've got 34 seconds to go. He's matched up with Edney. You know Edney's going to have the ball. I am really surprised that Eddie Sutton has not taken him out of the game. I mean, that would be a very cheap foul to pick up, but very serious for his club.
This free throw for the tie.
And we're on the mark for a mid-70 game, so neither team has really established the tempo they want yet. A little higher score than what Oak State might want, a little lower score than UCLA.
Well, Edney really knows how to shine in these last-second situations. Remember the UConn first half coming to a close?
But again, the serious problem here for Owens is how do you stop him and not pick up another foul?
Can Edney do it again before the buzzer?
Well, he gave up his dribble.
Yep. O'Bannon from the corner. we're going to the locker room with a tie ball game. UCLA led by 9 at one time. Cowboys fought back to within 1, and then it went back to an 8-point lead. And the Cowboys catch them at the intermission now at 37 all.
Feet, brother Ed hit a couple on the perimeter.
One thing, Oklahoma State was forced into 14 first-half turnovers.
They had 10 really early, Jim. They really settled down the last 10 minutes and a half.
They jammed Big Country that time.
Got out of the zone. They're back to the man-to-man.
Owens, who hit his last 3, not this time. Ed O'Bannon, strong hands, pulls it down.
Good two-handed rebound. I said Collins would be back in there, Jim. Good strip. Collins, a great track star in high school. It's good to see him back out there.
State hurdling champion in Illinois. Collins.
There's that quickness.
Yep, well, off that tender ankle, he still buries a 3.
He's running well on it though, Jim.
And that's the Cowboys' first lead since 11-9.
Now, one of the things that's interesting that UCLA will have to face now, this is going to have to be a grind-them-out game.
Pierce
got caught. It looks like a grind-them-out type game. You know, not one of those that you can blow away. But one of the things that's interesting, you're still playing that mind game. They do have that ability to make those 10-0 runs. You know, 12-2 type runs. So Oak State, with their great ability to spread things out, get back on defense, has to be very careful in that regard.
O'Bannon takes off. That is called that time on Pierce again, his second. And we can see now the brackets with Carolina and Arkansas. Game 2 between a pair of 2 seeds.
ACC, SEC last week. Carolina had an opportunity to play against Kentucky, who's had, I think, some of the great games played this year have been those Kentucky-Arkansas games, Jim. Great teams battling each other right down to the wire. Last-second shots. So 2 outstanding leads, probably the 2 best leagues in the country this year, sending premier teams against each other. Oh, in the lane, and they lose it.
Yep, Zedek in the lane.
Now he doesn't have a rebound, and he's taken away a foul shot. You can see him he gets leaning, and he can't pull himself back.
Owens operating with the 3 fouls.
Roberts, who had the outstanding first half. 3 for 3.
Fade away, Big Country. Roberts, no whistle over the back. It was clean.
Double down by Edney. They are not doubling down with Rutherford's man, though.
Zedek called for that one. That's his 3rd.
Now, Jim, what Oak State could do is they're doubling Edney down off of Owens to help out. You can see him right there, which means that Bailey stays on Rutherford. What should happen is Edney's man should go screen Bailey, and then Rutherford be open for a jump shot. Give Rutherford credit for being very patient in this game, however. He's not looking to take any bad shots. Probably why he hits such a good percentage. There's the step out.
Shot clock at 3. Wild will put up. No whistle. Bruins on break. Bailey will pull up. And he'll take it in. Ed +1.
One of the things that makes UCLA so dangerous is the ability to catch the ball in traffic. Charles O'Bannon, Ed O'Bannon, Bailey, Henderson. This is a tough pass and only works because you have guys that can make catches in traffic. Look at the concentration by Ed O'Bannon.
Three-point play ties it, 40. Sub back in, Pierce, who was whistled for a couple of quick fouls at the start of this half. gets back into the game for Collins. UCLA now will pick up full court pressure.
Haven't been able to do that much. If you don't get to that foul line, Jim, and make them, you can't get the best opportunity to put your press on. 2-2-1. Edney shading over there on Rutherford. Boy, Reeves really making Zedek work down inside. He is a load.
Rutherford, the man from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, another small town.
He's got a smaller man on him now. They're wanting to throw the lob to him.
Got to beat the shot clock. Rutherford, short that time. Slap it back out, and they say last touch by Oklahoma State.
Rutherford is really not a guy, Jim, despite his quickness, that can get the shot off the dribble. He requires the screen, and so far today, he hasn't been able to get it.
He's a man who lit up Kansas for 45 in one game. Eddie Sutton called it the best performance by any guard he ever coached in one game.
And that
has had some good ones.
That is a game where Big Country did not score.
Charles O'Bannon.
I didn't know how he'd get that one off. Came all the way under the backboard.
UCLA regains the lead 42-40.
There's the screens.
Had the shot, steps in instead. Rejected by Ed.
And here they come.
Edney cross court, Charles, pull up.
This is the kind of run we talked about. So explosive.
7 unanswered for the Bruins.
Bailey doing a good job fighting over those screens. Down to 8 seconds. Got to keep the dribble.
Rutherford will get it off in time. Reeves just in the right place. That one. Next whistle will be the under 16 TV timeout.
Back screen, and Bailey fights through it again. Boy, this kid's doing a nice job on defense.
Reeves lost control of it.
Here they come. 4 on 3.
Give it up. Zedek travel. Oh, what a collision.
So walk on Zedek, but the foul was after the violation.
Traveling and a timeout on the floor.
Jim,
and Keontae Roberts just now getting to the Oklahoma State bench, Billy.
We can see what happens to him. There's a walk on the play. One pass, maybe too many. Zedek walks. Roberts blocks the shot, comes down hard, and then Zedek comes right down on his hip. He was on the floor for quite some time and obviously being worked on by the trainer.
Cowboys only 1 out of 8 from the field in this half, and that was a 3 by Terry Collins.
Pretty soon they got to figure a way to get Randy Rutherford open.
And a turnover.
There was a case. Footwork, pretty good balance by Big Country, but the pass thrown too wide. But I really think, Jim, at this point, with Keontae Roberts, who had 6 points in the first half, Oak State has got to get some offense out of Rutherford.
Rutherford only 1 for 7 from the field in this game. Zedek.
Nice little pump fake. This is a 9-0 run.
9-0 run for UCLA.
Two-man game inside. Rutherford trying to find a way to get free.
Double up Reeves. There's a rebound for Zedek, his first. UCLA on the other end is 4 for 4 in this half.
Zedek did not have a rebound in the Missouri game, but he had 10 points in that one. Talked about runs. Eddie Sutton has to get very serious now. Down 8. Got to figure out a way to get Rutherford the ball.
And only one field goal in 6.5 minutes of the half for the Cowboys.
Bailey putting on a pretty good defensive show. He just won't accept the screen.
Right when they needed it, +1.
Jim Reeves going to the line, has not missed one there yet today. Got his name, Big Country, from Byron Houston, the all-time leading scorer and rebounder from Oak State. A man he's chasing in that regard, but there's that body power and going back to his left shoulder again.
In an exchange of words, after the whistle, Zedek picks up his 4th, Billy. So trying to man up Reeves. They've got 4 on Zedek and 3 on Henderson, his backup.
Here you see him battling in the inside, 14 feet, 600 pounds. Armed combat in there. Excellent job. But when they come back with Henderson, more quickness to the floor.
But he too is in foul trouble,
he is.
Billy.
It's Zedek's job just to keep pushing the Big Country around, make him work hard. But as we pointed out, the man's played 3 straight games of 40 minutes. So he proved he can stand the test with that stamina.
And the big man's 9 for 9 at the line.
Henderson's got a shot from there.
Barry Collins pulls it down.
Nice pass by Collins, too, because he was falling out of bounds. Doesn't he have some quick hands huh?
Man, as quick as you'll ever see.
See, Rutherford can't beat a man with the dribble. That really hurts him as a scorer in a situation like this.
Collins misfiring, and Edney had position. Kind of lost control of it off the fingertips. Owens ahead.
Nice.
Rutherford pushed from behind by Charles O'Bannon.
Terrific defensive balance, though, by UCLA with their outstanding quickness. That should have been an easy 2 on a break. They just wouldn't give it up.
Jason Scare, 6'7" freshman, back in for Collins. Charles O'Bannon's 2nd whistle. At the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we select the Chevrolet players of the game in conjunction with the award, $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. Rutherford is not finding it right now.
He hasn't been able to get in any rhythm. Again, credit Bailey with great defense.
Deontay Roberts with a bruised right hip, we hear. Back in there, though, for Pierce.
You know, Jim, something interesting about all 4 teams that are in the Final Four this year. All 4 lost their conference opener. What a way to start a season and yet end up in the Final Four, huh?
After Oklahoma State lost its conference opener, Eddie Sutton said at that time he really wasn't even sure if his team would make the NIT.
Amazing.
And here they are in the Final Four. 4 down to the Bruins with 12 minutes and change remaining.
The defensive consistency is there.
Rattling out. Charles O'Bannon may have gotten away with over the back. Henderson.
Nice officiating there. They let him play. No advantage gained.
Cowboys with a little run of their own.
Double screen. Henderson's long arms picked that off. Had to be a bounce pass to get underneath him.
Rutherford can't ask for a better shot than that
No,
one.
and the second one would have been fine too.
Edney jumper. 3 on 3, but on a wing open.
There it is.
He needs to get one now. No, and count it.
There it is, Jimmy. Pulled up on the outside in the wing.
It wasn't clean, but it counts, and the confidence gets a boost.
That was a Sean Respert, only from the opposite side. You know how he likes to run down on the left and shoot the jumper from Michigan State. It's a smart move by Rutherford, just staying out there.
7 unanswered now for Oklahoma State. Toby Bailey, he'll take it. Foul called on Keontae Roberts, who fouled out of the game against UMass early in the second half last week. And we've got a timeout on the floor. Cowboys have fought back from 8 down this time, and now only 1. Oklahoma State comes back again, Billy.
Yes, they really have, Jim. I was surprised at this one. Sooner or later, they cannot, with their patient offense, afford to get behind by 8 or 9.
Bruins hit their first 5 shots of the half and now have missed their last 5.
And you know, Edney has not tried to penetrate all the way to the basket against Owens. Owens got the 3 fouls in that first half, and he hasn't challenged him in the second.
Cameron Dollar back in for the Bruins. Ed O'Bannon, 6 on the shot clock. Edney open 3.
Chance to go ahead, Jim. Oak State, who has Oklahoma A&M, won back-to-back championships in the NCAA. First team ever to do that. Playing against the club that set all kinds of records 10 and 12 years that we probably won't ever see topped again.
Winning the championship 50 years ago and 49 years back. Reeves.
Oh, boy.
The ball was kind of coming loose there for a minute, and he regained control, and the Cowboys have the lead.
That's those soft hands we talked about before, rebounding that time, getting it back in that position to shoot.
9-point run by Oklahoma State. Whistle away from the ball.
Roberts on Ed O'Bannon. Here we see them pushing on the inside. Roberts going to try to prevent him from getting to the ball. Gained an advantage with a defensive hand check. Gets called.
Henderson outside.
Beautiful shot.
The freshman can score. He averages 10 a game and had his best scoring effort right here in the state of Washington. Against Washington State, he had 28.
Even 9 for 12 against Connecticut, 8 for 12 against Florida International. He's been shooting over 70% in the NCAA tournament. They go back to the 2-3 zone. Remember, we saw this the second part of the first half.
Collins has hit a couple of threes. Not this one, though. UCLA with the 1-point lead. 8.5 remaining.
Now you've got the 2-point guards in the game. Rutherford on Dollar. I think the O'Bannons have played against enough to make that pass.
Edney fouled by Big Country.
Jim, this is what I don't think Tyus has taken advantage of with Owens in that foul trouble. That's the way the first half should have ended. Put the ball on the floor, dribble. He cannot afford to reach in. You watch, Tyus goes right by Owens. I think he can beat him on the dribble. We saw that right at the start of the game. Puts all kinds of defensive pressure on Big Country inside.
Get him out, man. Get him out.
13 points for Tyus Edney. That foul on Reeves was his first, while Zedek sits with 4.
Oak State has just so many lives, Jim, giving up these leads and coming back.
Well, the Bruins are on a little 5-point run of their own. Henderson, they say, too much contact.
You know, it's kind of interesting. We have the McDonald's All-American game tomorrow. I'll mention about this young man last year at this time.
Well, he has 4 now also. We'll be right back.
You know, so here's a guy who was an employee. Maybe he was ineligible because he was an employee with the company.
I would think he'd make maybe not the McDonald's All-America, but the McDonald's All-Star team anyway, right?
At least in the local store club. Back to the 2-3 zone.
Bruins leading by 4, 53-49.
Not a good pass.
And stolen by Henderson. Dollar with a valiant try to save it, but out of bounds.
One of the things when you play against an Eddie Sutton club, it is so difficult to break against them because they have great floor balance defensively. And that's what happened to UCLA. They very seldom give you numbers coming down on the break. Problem here, primarily only one outside shooter. Beautiful pass.
Roberts left open in the lane.
Jim, he hadn't missed a shot yet today.
Deonte Roberts, a perfect 4 for 4. Under 7 remaining, 53-51.
Edney as the team leader trying to get everybody involved in the game, but I still think that he could put the ball on the floor and penetrate more.
He has not challenged Owens as much this
There
half.
he goes.
Till now. Owens reached in and popped it loose. Roberts on the floor. Roberts.
He gets the foul, pushing off on Dollar after he got it knocked away.
Billy coming up between games. Michael Jordan with Doritos inside the games. Talking about some of the classic buzzer beaters in this tournament and some of his other thoughts about playing in the Final Four.
A lot of people forget Michael Jordan's last game as an NCAA tournament player. That's his 4th going out Pierce in. Was Michael Jordan's game in 1984, that great North Carolina team upset, and that was truly an upset by Indiana. And Steve Alford, a young man who just took a job with Southwest Missouri State, going to be an outstanding coach.
1-1 here for Dollar. That Carolina team was one of the great ones never to make a Final Four.
Without question, has to be one of the low moments in Dean Smith's career. And obviously one of the high ones for Bob Knight.
1 of 2, 3-point Bruin lead, 6:30 to go.
Boy, they are really aware in this zone of where Rutherford is. How many hours they have worked in this zone, keeping an eye on him.
Well, a Rutherford 3 would tie it. Here he goes. He's been short most of the time. Last touch by UCLA.
Well, down in that deep corner, he has men coming at him. That time, Henderson, 6'9", coming out. On the other side, O'Bannon. I would wonder if they could set a screen and get him something up higher where he could shoot over a smaller man. He cannot get the shot off down on the baseline.
In the lane again, Collins gets the short one.
Pierce.
3 on Pierce. 1-1 at the other end. .553 on the clock.
Jim, one of the things a player has to do within a game, particularly a player like Rutherford who's having a tough game, 2 for 10 so far, is understand what the defense is giving him. They are not giving him the baseline jump shot. He has to figure out how to come a little higher and get in that crease of the zone where he can get off the good shot.
Roberts with the 4 fouls, with the bruised hip, comes in for Collins.
You can see when he sits, Jim, he comes back in with a limp. Needs to get that thing moving again.
1-1. And there, the parents of Charles, Madeline, and Ed O'Bannon Sr.
Looked like Dad was giving him a little lecture on how to follow through on that shot.
And it's right there with him. Ed Sr., a former wide receiver at UCLA in 1971. 56-51. Big Country calling for it. Ed O'Bannon fronting.
And the zone getting much more active. Again, matched up against a 6'9" player in the deep corner.
Rutherford got it this time.
Well, he's got some range, doesn't he? And a quick release. We saw Curtis Staples last week from Virginia with a quick release. Rutherford right there with him.
Ed says, I'll take it. And nothing but swish on that one.
Jim, couldn't we see Pierce's eyes there where he thought that O'Bannon was going to put it on the floor? He just absolutely froze him with that move.
Two-pointer gives him the 4-point lead, and Big Country says, let's take a timeout. So the Cowboys call a timeout. UCLA leads by 4.
Of the tortoise, not the hare. UCLA doing a good job, and they are 23-0 this year when they have their opponent under 80 points at the end of the game. Right now, back, they change their defense, go back to man-to-man. Nice switch that time by Edney to prevent Rutherford from getting the jumper.
Deontay Roberts, three-pointer. Long board to O'Bannon.
Not the shot that Ed Sutton would have wanted coming out of that timeout. He buries his head in his hands. You know that he wanted Big Country to at least touch the ball on that possession. Ed O'Bannon looking like he wants to take Pierce.
He does. Wild with that shot, though. Cowboys cutting Deontay. Off the glass, cuts it to 2.
Boy, he has a fine game off the bench. Came back off of what looked like a tough injury. Still making all his shots. With the exception of that long jumper, he's hit everything today.
Edney to the hole.
Been there all day.
What a floor general. 15 for Edney.
I think he's been a little bit too unselfish today.
Roberts. Last touch by Dollar. He was trying to feed it over to Big Country.
Nice job by Zidek. That could have been his 5th.
By the way, Reeves with 5 in this half after 18 in the first half.
They haven't let him touch the ball. Double
3:15
screen
on the clock. Pierce steps in. Behind the back, Reeves. Got it.
That was a beautiful play by Pierce. Didn't know he had it in him, Jim. Behind the back while he was in the air. Only way he could have gotten the ball there.
60-58 UCLA. Edney again penetrating.
He's now taking advantage of the dribble penetration. Watch Pierce here. The only way he could possibly have gotten the ball there. Nice job of concentration by Brian Reeves, and the fact that you'd think that that shot would go up, you take your eye off it, but he stayed right with it. And then again, the soft hands and the great touch.
Pierce at the other end commits his 4th and now is taken out. So Edney at the line for UCLA. Shooting a 1-and-1. He's 5 of 7 today.
Young man, Jim, 76% free throw shooter. Just exactly what you want in a point guard because you want him on the line at the end.
Got them both. Other Barbara. .245 remaining.
Double screen, triple screen, trying to get Rutherford open.
Rutherford, wow, what a 3.
Triple screen, Jim, to get him open on the baseline.
Look out, Billy, he's warming up now.
Very nice play set up by Eddie Sutton.
1-point Bruin advantage. No call, Edney steps in, puts the spin on it.
Jim, they cannot stop his dribble penetration. And he hasn't been selfish lately, but that's what he's got to do the rest of the way.
Timeout called again by Oklahoma State. Cowboys have one timeout remaining, and the Bruins lead it 64-61. Lou Henson had a 19-year go between New Mexico State and 70.
And when you think of Ray Myers, you think of the Paul battles against Oklahoma A&M, George Mike and Bob Crow, and the first time we ever had monster guys in the middle.
That shot was for the tie. Oklahoma State's bench said you should have called a foul on that one.
Set play on the out of bounds. And now who's got that ball and ready for some dribble penetration? The change defensively by Eddie Sutton. Rutherford moves out on Edney. Owens on Dollar. See if Edney can beat him with the dribble. That's Serene.
He gives it up to Dollar. The save before the shot. The foul goes against Owens, and that's number 4 on the point man of the Cowboys. And the 10th team foul, so they're shooting 2 rest of the way. Timeout situation. Cowboys with 1. UCLA all 3.
Dollar a 62% free throw shooter. The heir apparent to Edney's point guard position. Jim, still time to think about getting the ball inside and not worry about the threes yet.
Sophomore knocks down 2 big ones. 66-61 UCLA.
We're in the zone, big country. He's got to find a hole somewhere in the middle. There he is.
Intercepted by Dollar.
It was a good idea. They just couldn't execute it.
1:15 remaining.
Double team. A little double team out front, trying to keep the ball out of Edney's hands.
Whistle on Collins. UCLA a minute 2 away.
This is a good free throw shooting team, Jim. Shoots 70% on the year. Charles O'Bannon had an excellent first half, solid game all around, 73% free throw shooter. Well, the odds are in UCLA's favor with this quality shooting.
Again, 2 the rest of the way, double bonus. Bruins trying to get back to a championship game.
Well, Larry Brown got him there.
1980.
A game that is now wiped off the record book in NCAA record books. Lost to Louisville.
7-point lead.
Now they got to go 3.
Hoffman's country. O'Bannon. And Owens fouls out. Edney's really taken over in the end, hasn't he?
He really has, Jim. He was patient all day long. He saw early on he could beat Owens with a dribble. Owens now goes out. Young man lasted a long time with 3 fouls, playing somebody as expert a dribbler as Edney. But I think what changed this game around is when Edney became a little selfish and put the ball on the floor and did the great dribble penetration that he's so noted for. Not always bad to be a little bit confident of your ability and to take that ball inside, even if it takes maybe some of the other guys out of the offense momentarily. This young man is a great floor general.
2 shots for Edney. His father, Hank, brother, Russell. His dad said people have underestimated Tyus because of his size, but Tyus has always been about proving people wrong. again.
Jim, all you can do now is fire from the outside and hope something lands. Clock is certainly against you.
Zedek fouled by Big Country. Billy, the Chevrolet players of the game, Bryant Reeves of Oklahoma State with 25 and 9. Charles O'Bannon for the Bruins.
Looks like Reeves is going to end his career two-time Big 8 Player of the Year, MVP of the Eastern Regional. Set some great records. Outstanding collegiate performer that when he first arrived on the scene, Eddie Sutton thought he'd have to redshirt him. He was going to be a project. Worked his way into the starting lineup. Become one of the school's all-time best.
Roberts. Dollar to the line. A double-digit lead for the first time, but not until the final minute. UCLA heading to Monday night. The Bruins took over the lead at 50-49 with 9 minutes, 10 seconds remaining and held it the rest of the way.
Jim, it was kind of interesting. We saw UCLA take those runs of 6 to 8, 10 points, and then Oklahoma State battle back each time, and sooner or later, you figured they were not going to be able to overcome it, and that's what happened. Eddie Sutton clears the bench.
And an exit for one of the all-time players at Oklahoma State, Big Country, Bryant Reeves. He came out of Gans, Oklahoma, when no one else wanted him. And the O'Bannons can celebrate, and he ends his career in Seattle.
Yep.
He never even had a plane trip before the first road game for the Cowboys as a freshman.
That's right, to the NIT. Made him nervous even thinking about it. Jim, when you think back, as a sophomore, that young man led the league, the Big 8, in scoring and rebounding, and was the MVP of the league. That's the first time that anybody had done that since Wilt Chamberlain. It's kind of amazing to think. Wilt, of course, playing in 57 as a sophomore.
Then bomb over to Miles, Kevin Miles, Keontae Roberts, who had a big game. That foul called on Oma Gibbons.
Oma Gibbons, who yesterday showed that he will be a factor for UCLA, watching his athletic talents in practice, not getting the playing time this year, but you'll hear of him before he's out of there.
6'10" freshman, playing in his home state. He's from Aberdeen, Washington. One more for Roberts, 13 seconds remaining.
Well, we might see Coach Wooden after all, Jim, on Monday night, huh?
Well, I'd love to see it. He'll be at the All-America game tomorrow, McDonald's High School All-American in St. Louis. Again, between games, Pat, Quinn, and Coach K have a few comments about this game. We'll hear from the winners and losers and a conversation with Michael Jordan.
First game he played on national television was the McDonald's All-American game. Been in a few more since.
Well, tonight we'll all readjust our watches. But today in Seattle, UCLA goes back in time. They're heading to the national championship game on Monday night.